There's a single decision that separates the wealthy from everyone else. And it's not working harder, getting lucky, or even earning more money. It's the decision to own assets instead of just earning income. This one shift in mindset and behavior creates a completely different financial trajectory that compounds over decades. Today, I'm breaking down exactly why asset ownership is the fundamental wealth-building mechanism that most people completely miss, and how shifting from income earner to asset owner changes everything about your financial future. If you've ever wondered why the rich keep getting richer, this is the answer. Let's dive in. 10. The shift from consumer to owner is the fundamental wealth choice. Ultimately, asset ownership changes everything because it represents a fundamental identity and mindset shift from consumer to owner, from income earner to wealth builder, from short-term to long-term thinking. This shift is more psychological than financial, but it determines financial outcomes. The shift requires reconceptualizing money. Instead of seeing money as something to spend on lifestyle, you see it as capital to deploy into assets that generate returns. Each dollar becomes a potential worker in your asset army, not a unit of consumption. Breaking the consumption cycle and becoming an asset accumulator is the single most important financial decision anyone can make. It's not sexy or quick, but it's the only proven path from financial stress to financial freedom that's accessible to ordinary people. 9. Assets create intangible value beyond financial returns. Asset ownership provides benefits beyond financial returns that are often overlooked but extremely valuable. These intangible benefits compound the case for ownership over pure income focus. Owning assets forces financial education. Managing rental property teaches about real estate, taxes, contracts, and maintenance. Owning stocks requires learning about businesses, markets, and valuation. This knowledge compounds over time and enables better future decisions. Finally, asset ownership often provides purpose and meaning, especially for businesses and impact investments. Owning assets aligned with your values creates a sense of contribution beyond just making money. This meaning makes wealth building sustainable and satisfying. 8. Ownership enables income diversification. Asset ownership naturally creates income diversification, providing security and resilience that single-source employment income never offers. This diversification protects against financial catastrophe and enables sustainable wealth building. This diversification provides psychological security as well as financial resilience. You sleep better knowing that no single event can eliminate your income. You negotiate from strength because you don't desperately need any single income source. Building toward this diversified passive income is a multi-year project requiring deliberate asset accumulation. But each asset added increases resilience until eventually your income becomes nearly bulletproof, sustained by multiple independent sources. 7. Assets hedge against inflation and currency debasement. Asset ownership provides protection against inflation and currency debasement that holding cash or relying on salary never can. This protective quality becomes more valuable as governments increasingly print money and inflate currencies. The wealthy understand that holding significant cash is guaranteed wealth destruction over time. They keep only what's needed for liquidity and invest everything else in inflation-protected assets. This preserves and grows real purchasing power across decades. Relying on employment income for wealth building means constantly fighting inflation. You need raises just to maintain purchasing power, let alone build wealth. Asset ownership puts inflation behind you, with asset appreciation often exceeding inflation and building real wealth automatically. 6. Ownership compounds across generations. Asset ownership creates generational wealth in ways income never can. Assets can be passed to children, giving them enormous head starts that compound across lifetimes and create dynasty-level wealth. Real estate holdings can be passed down, giving children property portfolios that took parents decades to build. Those children can then build on that foundation, exponentially growing the family asset base. This is how wealth inequality perpetuates and expands. Asset-owning families pass assets to children who build on them, while income-earning families pass little or nothing, forcing each generation to start over. 5. Assets create optionality and freedom. Perhaps the most transformative aspect of asset ownership is the optionality and freedom it creates. Assets give you choices that income alone never provides, fundamentally changing how you live and make decisions. This freedom from financial pressure enables better decision-making across all areas of life. Relationships improve when you're not stressed about money. Health improves when you can afford preventive care and aren't working yourself sick. Creativity flourishes when survival isn't consuming all mental energy. The psychological benefit is enormous. Financial anxiety dominates most people's lives, affecting relationships, health, and happiness. Asset ownership progressively reduces this anxiety until it eventually disappears when passive income exceeds expenses. This mental freedom is transformative. 4. Tax systems favor asset owners over income earners. The tax code is explicitly designed to favor asset owners over income earners, creating a massive advantage that compounds over decades. Understanding this reality is crucial to understanding wealth inequality. Income from assets is taxed far more favorably. Long-term capital gains from selling appreciated assets are taxed at 15–20%, far less than ordinary income. Qualified dividends receive similar favorable treatment. Real estate investors can depreciate property to offset income, potentially paying zero tax while generating substantial cash flow. The system is literally designed to encourage asset ownership and penalize reliance on employment income. The wealthy didn't create this system accidentally. They lobbied for and benefit from tax structures that reward ownership. Understanding and leveraging these rules is fundamental to wealth building. 3. Ownership provides control and leverage. Asset ownership provides something equally valuable as financial returns: control over your economic destiny. When you own assets, you control them. When you only earn income from employment, someone else controls your economic fate. Owning a business means you control your income potential, business strategy, and ability to sell the business for a lump sum. Being an employee means your income is capped by someone else's decisions. You have no control over the business direction, and you can be fired at any time. The control aspect is psychological as well as financial. Asset owners sleep better knowing their financial future depends on assets they control rather than on an employer's whims. This security and control over one's destiny is perhaps the most undervalued benefit of asset ownership. 2. Assets appreciate while liabilities depreciate. Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is critical, and most people get it wrong. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket or increases in value. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket or decreases in value. The wealthy buy appreciating assets, real estate that increases in value over time, stocks in growing companies, businesses that become more valuable, intellectual property that generates ongoing royalties, precious metals and art that appreciate. These purchases become more valuable over time, building wealth automatically. This requires a fundamental mindset shift from what can I afford to buy to what assets can I acquire that will generate income and appreciate. The first question leads to consumption and declining net worth. The second leads to investment and growing wealth. 1. Assets work while you sleep. The fundamental difference between earning income and owning assets is this. Income requires your continuous effort and time, while assets generate returns whether you're working or not. This distinction is everything. When you work a job, you trade time for money. This creates a hard ceiling on your earning potential, because time is finite. There are only 24 hours in a day, and you can only work so many of them. This is why the wealthy obsess over asset accumulation while the middle class obsesses over salary increases. A 20% raise sounds great until you realize it still requires you to work for that money. A portfolio of assets generating the same income requires no additional time input. freeing you to pursue other opportunities or simply enjoy life. Asset ownership isn't just a wealth strategy, it's the fundamental mechanism by which wealth is built and sustained. The choice between consuming your income and acquiring assets with it determines whether you'll build wealth or stay broke, regardless of how much you earn. If this shifted your perspective, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on wealth building and financial psychology. Drop a comment. What's the first asset you're going to acquire? Or what assets do you already own? Let's build a community of owners, not just earners. Thanks for watching. And remember, your wealth is determined not by what you earn, but by what you own. I'll see you in the next one.